know you were lied to by George W. Bush and his people. What I can't figure out is how you believed those lies. I sure didn't. Are the members of Congress that much more stupid than we in the peace movement? Or maybe, did you really know better, but were just being lapdogs for the fat cats as usual? Well, in 2006, the Democrats took control of Congress. And months went by. And months went by. And still you failed to hold President Bush accountable for his lies. Well, Earth was wrong with you. It's a hackneyed expression, and you've heard it many times, but it's true. Clinton lied, no one died.
Yeah.
If it was okay to impeach Bill Clinton for fibbing about an event which only embarrassed his family and soiled a blue dress, what took you so long to impeach Cheney and Bush for deceiving us into a war costing so many thousands of lives? Where's the accountability? If it was right for Richard Nixon to have to resign under threat of impeachment for covering up an attempt to peek at the other party's plans, why was it not right for you to immediately get rid of those responsible not only for the two deadly wars of aggression, but for the loss of habeas corpus, spying on American citizens, torturing suspects in the phony war on terror, saddling our grandchildren with more trillions in debt, giving away our sovereignty, for goodness sakes, with the North American Union, and subverting the Constitution itself? Where is the accountability? If you look in here at Article 3, Section 4, it does not say the President and Vice President may be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors. It says they shall be impeached. Well, much changed while George W. Bush was in office. Nearly 3,000 died on 9/11. Many more than that died in his wars and occupations. There are more than 26,000 wounded soldiers whose lives will never be the same. There are tens of thousands young men and women with serious psychological problems because of what they have seen and what they have done. There are hundreds of thousands poisoned by depleted uranium who will suffer lives of pain and disability and who will father thousands of children with severe birth defects. The military services are depleted and demoralized. The VA system is overwhelmed. The National Guard and Reserve have been subjected to tour after tour, disrupting lives for even the lucky ones that return unscathed. Jobs have been lost. Marriages have been destroyed. Homes have been foreclosed. Children have been estranged. And natural disasters like Katrina have been undealt with. And still, there was no accountability. And that was just in this country. In Iraq, it was even worse. Religious liberty was lost. Mosques, churches, and synagogues, which thrived under Saddam, were destroyed, their people killed or scattered. Women lost their rights and freedoms. Essential services were disrupted. People were tortured. Cities like Fallujah lie in ruins. And in spite of heroic efforts by the vast majority of our young men and women in uniform, most of the remaining Iraqis are much worse off than they were before we liberated them. More than 4 years of war destroyed Iraq. Destroyed our standing in the world. Destroyed our national security. Destroyed our civil rights. Destroyed precious lives. And brought our nation to the brink of financial disaster. And it was all predictable, because we in fact predicted it. Well, the hundreds of billions of dollars already spent on this war have not just vanished. They've gone to Condoleezza Rice's Texaco Exxon, and Dick Cheney's Halliburton, and George Bush's Carlyle Group, and through their lobbyists into the pockets of you congressional incumbents. Perhaps that's why there was no accountability. Well, no longer. The American people finally got together and demanded a government which follows the Constitution, honors the truth, and serves the people. And that's exactly what we intend to give them. I am asking the United Nations to send peacekeepers to Iraq to do a job we can't do as an occupying army. But whether or not they do, we will leave within 3 months. We are going to support what's left of our troops by bringing them home while they're still alive. Now, terrorism is a real threat. In the short term, we must protect the American people from the terrorists our misguided policies have already created. This means enhancing port security, strengthening the Border Patrol and the Coast Guard. We will do these. But in the long term, we must stop making more terrorists. This means stopping policies and actions which make people fear and hate us. It means listening to the legitimate grievances of peoples we have wronged and then changing our ways. You know, only one thing has ever ended a campaign of terror anywhere in the world: separating the handful of terrorists from the larger community upon which they depend. And this is done by ending the feelings of desperation, hopelessness, and powerlessness afflicting the people. It is done by listening to them and then actually making their lives better. It is not done by revenge and retaliation, which only create more terrorists. Well, we have at times, including I think the last few years, had a government with bad policies. But we are a good people. What we have long needed is a government which reflects the values and goodness of the American people. Our values and goodness are not reflected by a government which violates international law in its conflicts and denies its own citizens their constitutional rights. I have therefore ordered the release of all those being detained without charge, the closure of the prison